Hello everyone, this is my case study for EDL 850. This case study was over the Internet use violations, threats over the World Wide Web. I wanted to start off by talking about the ISLLC standard number 5 since we refer to it throughout the whole case study. The building level administrator is an educational leader who promotes the success of all students by acting with integrity, fairness, and in an ethical manner. When I approached this study, I kept this standard number 5 in the back of my mind throughout when I was trying to become the administrator and decide what I would like to do in this situation. Category 1, problem identification and analysis. To look at the problem, I first looked at the school. About the school. The school was Roosevelt High School, which was a very affluent school in a large city, meaning that there was a lot of money, the parents were professionals, they had a good living, the kids in return got a lot of nice clothes, and they had all the new types of technology available. What I know about the principal, his name was Dr. Stephen Forbes. He has been teaching at the school for 9 years and has built a very high reputation. He was awarded Principal of the Year. He is very respected by the parents. He has a really good school reputation. And one of the things I liked was that he hired very qualified teachers. He really made sure that they were qualified before he would hire them. He is aware of the concerns that were for Miss Walker, and he tried to approach it in his own manner at first. He offered her suggestions to improve the students' relationships and lower their stress levels in her classroom, but unfortunately she didn't listen to him very well. About the teacher, her name is Miss Walker. She teaches specialized science courses, which are very rigorous. She had no previous experience. She went and got her graduate work and had a lot of intelligence, but she had no experience teaching. She had a very highly rigorous course with high expectations, and in return, the students' stress levels were very high because they are all competing to be valedictorian, and none of them wanted to get a bad grade, so when they had a really hard class, it really stressed them out. In return, the parents and the students were mad and started calling the school. She doesn't listen to the principal's suggestions, and in this case, that is what happened to make this a problem. What do I need to know? I need to know which students know how to develop a website because there was a hate website created about Miss Walker. That is the problem. We just don't know the student that did it yet. We also need to know which students or parents have complained about Miss Walker so we can kind of know who to question about someone making this hateful website and kind of narrow it down. We need to know where the email originated so we can pinpoint who could have possibly had access to the computer that created the hateful website. What is the problem? The problem here is that the teacher has a very rigorous expectations that have caused the students and parents to be stressed and mad. And as a result, a hateful website has been created about Miss Walker that has threatened her safety. We do not know who has created the website, but Miss Walker feels very threatened. She was threatened enough that she felt like she needed to go stay with her parents. Category 2, proposed plan of action with appropriate strategies for implementation. I went back to the Essex book under Chapter 3, Freedom of Expression section, and it says, school officials may restrict freedom of expression where there's evidence of material and substantial disruption, violation of school rules, destruction of school property, or disregard for authority. In this type of case, students must be provided minimal due process before any punitive action is taken. I feel there was a disregard for authority. Step 1, figure out who made the website. This is where I started to begin my process, and these are the things that I thought we needed to do in order to figure out who made the website. First, I would hand a slip of paper to every student, and on that slip of paper there would be a place for the student to put their name and a place for who they think made the website. Underneath that, they have to mark a box stating how sure they are, whether they're positive, somewhat sure, or just guessing. And that would be based on whether they knew the facts or the evidence. I do not think that you can automatically assume that Randy did it. I don't think that would be ethical. The administrator will collect the slips of paper and review them. If there are names that come up multiple times, those students will be called in for an interview. and items may be searched if there are multiple students stating they are positive a certain student did it. If the student confesses, then they will get their minimal due process hearing, since that is by law. If the student does not confess, I would look further into getting permission to search suspects' computers. I would also have a technology specialist come in to identify where the websites were created, like they had stated in the case study. Step 2, give the student a due process hearing, like they have the right to do. I would let the student state his or her side, the parents and the teachers all state their side, so we get all parts of the story. I would have a group of school professionals decide together on the punishment to be given. I think that if you have a group of professionals, it is a better decision than just one person. Step 3, provide punishment to the students. Let the student know what he or she needs to do as a result of his or her actions. In this case, I would probably think there would be some suspension outside of the school, but that would depend on what the group of school professionals decided. I would inform the parents of what the punishment will be and get their approval, and monitor that the punishment is being enforced. Step 4, make things better for the students in the school. I would remove the student from the classroom and move to a different classroom. I think that that student had a negative aspect towards the classroom, and it doesn't help the other students. I would work with the teacher to make improvements toward her classroom instruction. I would set goals that the teacher will know the students will answer yes or no to whether she is working on these goals in the classroom at the end of each month on a survey. That will hold her reliable. Give the teacher resources and set the teacher up with a great mentor. In step 5, I would monitor the progress. Lastly, I would check in with the teacher and the students in her classroom each month by providing a survey where they will answer specific questions that they state yes or no to, whether the teacher is working towards her goals. Category 3, resolve the issues based on promoting the success of all students. I resolve the issue based on promoting the success of all students by, first of all, punishing the student who made the website. This shows the students that there will be actions if this would ever happen again, because they all have access to technology, and they could easily be able to reproduce the student's actions if they were also mad. The negativity by this particular student is not good for the other students, so by removing the student, that'll help the others have a more positive aspect. Next, by working with the teacher to make improvements toward her instruction, all of the students in the classroom will benefit, because the students in the case study all claim to be stressed by her highly rigorous work schedule. Then, by setting goals that the teacher is held reliable to keep, it will ensure the students will be getting a quality education. By giving a monthly survey to the students, they will be able to state their opinion openly about how their teacher is doing, as well as hold her reliable for changing her instruction, because the principal tried to nicely give her advice once and she did not listen. By setting the teacher up with a great mentor, the students will get better quality instruction, hopefully. Category 4, debrief the problem by reflecting on what you were thinking, feeling, and valuing. First of all, what I was thinking of was how I would feel if I was in this teacher situation. It's hard to be a teacher, and especially hard to be a first-year teacher. I was not that long ago. I thought that the student who created this website didn't realize how threatening it would be and how much trouble he or she could get in. I thought that the principal should have been more strict when approaching the teacher the first time to make sure she changed her ways, so all this could have been prevented. I felt really bad for the teacher, because I know how scared she must have been if she felt threatened for her life and wanted to stay with her parents. I feel upset that she didn't take her principal's advice to prevent the problem. I feel sad the situation had to escalate this far out of control before the problem could have been gotten resolved. I feel sad that the teachers didn't have a mentor to help her for her first year. I value a teacher who holds her students to high standards, but not too high that it affects their self-esteem and health. I value parent and student opinions and feel as a teacher that I can grow from their suggestions and wish the teacher would have reflected and learned from her parents and teachers. I value feeling safe at school, and that goes for teachers and students. If the teacher does not feel safe, then the administrator has to step in and make sure this issue is completely resolved. I value administrative support, and in this case, wish the principal would have shown more support earlier by providing a mentor and resources for the teachers to improve. Identifying issues that are unresolved or open. There are still some issues unresolved. These are some that I thought of. The teacher's teaching style. She hasn't got any support yet for her teaching style to help her. The teacher's relationship with her students, I haven't seen any improvement there yet. She's going to have to really establish a better relationship for them to want to learn under her teaching. The students' competitiveness with each other develops fear and stress about grades. They really need to take that down a notch. I don't think the students should be so stressed out about getting all A's. The teacher's fear for her life. This is a problem that she will have to resolve on her own because she's going to have to go to school every day with that fear until she gets it resolved. Category 5. Reflect on Standard 5. Component 1. How did you, as the building level administrator, demonstrate a sense of integrity and ethical behavior? The reflection for the case study provides evidence that the building level administrator demonstrates a sense of integrity and ethical behavior while addressing the issue revealed in the Internet use violation case study by doing the following. He addresses the issue right away. When the teacher calls him by looking at the website himself and calling her right back, he shows that he cares for her safety. Next, he makes copies of the evidence and talks about reaching out to professionals for help. He's showing her leadership and support and is acting ethically by making copies of the evidence before it can be deleted. He wants to speak with Randy and some of his friends right away. I think this is ethical because he's not jumping to conclusions, but wants to speak with multiple students first. I feel the administrator honors integrity by showing support for the teacher the entire time and does not back down on that. He is also consistent with making sure he finds the culprit and punishes the student for his or her actions. Component 2. How did you as the administrator treat people fairly, equitably, and with dignity and respect? He acted with fairness towards the students who created the website by not jumping to conclusions on who did it, but by looking for evidence first. He also acted with fairness towards the student by providing a minimal due process hearing before giving the punishment and by removing the student from the classroom environment after the punishment. He acted with fairness towards the rest of the students by monitoring the teacher's progress after the incidents very closely. He could have just let it go and not worried about it anymore. He was fair to the teacher by supporting the teacher throughout the whole process. He acted with equity because he looked for facts to determine who the culprit was. He wanted equity for the students by providing a great learning environment for them by providing the teacher with a mentor and resources for improvement. He acted with dignity and respect by giving the student a hearing, by getting a group of professionals together to make the decisions on the student punishment. He was respectful to the parents by informing them of their child's punishment and letting them speak at the hearing. He's willing to confront the teacher if she fails to meet his expectations because he's monitoring her progress month to month. Category 5, Component 3. How did the administrator demonstrate personal and professional code of ethics? I thought professionally, identifying the culprit based on facts and providing the student a due process hearing were professionally ethical, providing a punishment for the student's actions, following up on the problem with the teacher by removing the student, and by providing the teacher with resources to improve. But most importantly, the administrator is going to monitor the teacher's progress this time and hold her reliable for improvement. Personally, he supports his teacher throughout the whole process by providing her with what she needs to improve. He addresses this issue very seriously and does not just let it slide. He doesn't blame the teacher for what the student does. He keeps the parents informed of what is going on. Personally, he is looking out for the students the most by removing the negative student and making sure they have a better learning environment. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. This is my case study.